A lot's been said about Charlie Kirk and the horrifying video that we've all seen of him. Um, it's surreal. I talked to my son about it when he came home late tonight. He's in college, and he's literally a year, no, about 7 or 8 years younger than Charlie Kirk, but still, when Charlie started this, he was, what, 18, 19, 20, 21? He dropped out of college. What a beautiful and brilliant story. What a beautiful and brilliant man. And we're going to get to the guy from MSNBC that was fired today, Matthew Dowd. By the way, he was a Bush administration. He helped run the Bush campaign in 2004. These people have gone nuts that were George W. Bush sort of milquetoast Republicans back in the day, but that's a different thing. I was listening to a former Israeli commando who's on Fox News from time to time. He's so good. I wish I remembered his name. And he was saying what I believe happened. I believe the shot hit Charlie right here, and he called it the chest plate, which referring to his body. And because when I saw that impact, it looked like there was a ripple here on the shirt, and then the neck. He thinks it ricocheted off. That makes sense to me from what I saw. But again, it's horrifying to see that aortic valve just be severed, and just horrifying. But one thing I wanted to explore and play for you here in a second, beyond the some of the idiots who said some real bad stuff today and some fools, I wanted to play former FBI agent Stuart Kaplan because he was on Jesse Waters, and he believes this was a professional hit. And what scares me, or not scares me, but deeply concerns me, is a second former FBI agent. I can't remember her name either, but she's Nicole something or other. She's the female who's on a lot on Fox News. She agrees that this was most likely a professional hit. And it's evidenced by a few things. There's no way, they're saying, I'm not saying this because I'm not an expert, but there's no way that the guy that was up there on that building hadn't been up there before. He knew everything about anything, and he got under that area where the tent was and hit Charlie right where it needed to be hit if you wanted to kill somebody, horrifyingly. And 200 yards isn't terribly long, apparently, but this is crazy. And then the dispatch got a call. The 911 dispatch on campus said they got a rough description of a possible assailant, dressed in jeans, black shirt, black mask, carrying a long rifle. University spokesperson said the suspected shooter appeared to fire from atop a nearby building. One structure about 200 yards away has a clear line of sight. Let me play the audio of Stuart Kaplan on Jesse Waters.
I think this assassination, different than the assassinated attempt back in Butler, Pennsylvania, was a very well-planned, very well-orchestrated plot that was put in motion days before. And this individual had a plan of escape to elude detection of being up on a rooftop, and also being able to evade and elude law enforcement after that shot was taken. When you take a look at what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania, Crooks came onto the venue, he left the venue, he came back, he was questioned. I mean, it was really an amateur scenario. This assassination of Charlie Kirk, to me, is indicative of a professional hit. And I'm not so sure that we are going to quickly be able to apprehend this individual without some luck.
Think about this. Is this a professional hit? Charlie Kirk, many say, is responsible for helping elect Donald J. Trump to his second term of the presidency. Can you kill a movement? Can you kill a movement? That's one of the things I wrote down here. Because this is being called by most everybody a political assassination. Can you kill a political movement by killing one guy? That's a big question. If this was a professional hit, who would do it and why? Some people have said foreign actors. I mean, you'd think there'd be a lot more important people, quote unquote, that you'd want to go after if you're doing that. But it better not kill a political movement. I hope it hasn't killed a political movement, and I would think not, because there's a lot of people that make that move. It's just as a talk show host, I can tell you, I can't do what I do without having the people behind the scenes do what they do. And my job is to, in addition to keeping you entertained and informed, my job is to make those people on the other side of the microphone happy, to make them engaged, to utilize their skills, to make them feel an important part of the team. You can't have an operation like Charlie Kirk had without hundreds and hundreds of people, if not thousands. So I think this will reinvigorate the movement. If somebody did assassinate him because if this was a professional hit, you'd have to say who, why. Another person has said there's a elite sniper that was interviewed by Daily Mail, Sergeant Nicholas Randstad. He hit a 6,778-foot kill in Afghanistan, the record for the longest by an American in Afghanistan at the time. That's probably now second best to the great Chris Kyle, who I had on my show fairly regularly before he passed away. It was a horrifying incident also. He's also saying it's not an AR-15. So many people saying that garbage. He thinks it was possibly a bolt-action, high-powered rifle, a 308 bolt-action, or a 7.62. I don't think it was an AR. He said the crack had too much bass in it, not a crack like an AR. So just think about that, though. Can you kill a political movement by killing one person? I mean, the one person that comes to mind that is the movement is Donald Trump. But thank God he's still okay after 2 assassination attempts. So I don't think you can kill a movement with this, and if it is a professional hit, that's wild. The guy I just mentioned that is a former sniper, he was saying check the ranges, look for somebody, because you don't have. He does not think you have to be that professional to hit at that range, which is not too big of a deal at all. Actually, 200 yards is nothing from what everybody's telling me here. I don't know. While I have an AR-15, I haven't shot it from that long of a range. But this guy here, the expert guy, says that I just quoted from the Daily Mail. He says, go to see somebody going to range, get tape of all the ranges, see who's been practicing. A few times of practice can make you good enough to do that shot, he thinks. So don't give people too much credit. Don't make it more than than it could be. You know what I mean? All right. I want to get into more. TMZ, there was people clapping in the background. They said it was not because of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. It was like 30 seconds before they broke the news on TMZ. They didn't break the news before they delivered the news. They said it was a car chase, and they were cheering. All I have to say is there better have been a car chase. They better be able to show a car chase that was going on in L.A. or somewhere at that time. Otherwise, good luck with that. Spencer Cox, the governor of Utah, says we still have the death penalty in Utah. Let me tell you something. Firing squad. I don't know if they have fire. I think they have firing squad in Utah still, and that's what it's there for. Whoever did this. I'm not going to get into the leftists who are the crazy leftists who are celebrating this today on social media. I think they're. You know what I thought? I saw some of them in a montage of some of them online, and I think they're kids who don't even know what the hell they're talking about. They're just desperate for attention. I saw some girls probably 16, 18, 19 years old jumping around excited in her backyard. She looks like she could be my daughter or my son, like that age. She doesn't know what the hell she's doing. She just wants attention. I think those people in their loserdom speak for themselves. I'm not going to get outraged about that. I'm going to play now Matthew Dowd, he was fired. And by the way, as I sit here at 2:18 in the morning, and I don't usually do it this late, but technical difficulties on all my stuff here at the studio, so it's a late night and I don't want to miss this. But as I sit here at 2:19, nobody's been caught. And apparently they found an abandoned vehicle, but it had been wiped clean, and they went to another vehicle. All they got to have is one error, and they're going to get them. And my prayer and my hope is that they have that one error and they get them. They get them, and they get them good. Let's go to Matthew Dowd, who's been fired by MSNBC earlier tonight. And I'm not. It's interesting. Sean Hannity has this whole thing about like he never supports anybody getting fired or that kind of stuff. I don't fall in that camp, but I don't fall in the opposite camp where people are screaming, fire him, or Van Jones. We're going to get to him in a second. Van Jones was attacking Charlie Kirk the day before his assassination on a claim of racial issues with the Charlotte stabbing to death that beautiful Ukrainian woman. We're going to get to that in a few minutes, too. I'm not calling for Van Jones to be fired. People need to freaking chill the heck out, okay? Matthew Dowd said this. We'll play this. I have no problem with him being fired by MSNBC for what he said, because he does blame Charlie Kirk for his own assassination. It's insane. And it's a real... It's the... Forgive my terms here, but it's the circle jerk on MSNBC. You have everybody thinking the same crap and outdoing each other for outrageous, stupid, horrible things to say, to inflame, and to get ratings. And so you're in that circle jerk, so then you say something that's so wrong and bad that even MSNBC will fire you. But because you've been in that circle jerk, and everybody's like, oh, yeah, they all say the same thing, contributing, piling on, then you say something that's even higher to the point where it's you have to, even MSNBC fires you. So let me just play this. Here is what Matthew Dowd said on MSNBC that got him fired hours later when the head of MSNBC apologized and rebuked him.
Talk to me about the environment in which a shooting like this.
And by the way, you can hear Katie Tur. She's literally setting up for this exact answer. Listen to this.
Talk to me about the environment in which a shooting like this happens.
Yeah, and again, I emphasize what you just emphasized. We don't know any of the full details of this. That we don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration, or so we have no idea about this. But following up on what was just said, he's
a friendly fire, somebody shooting Charlie Kirk in the freaking chest or the neck in celebration. Ah! This guy's an idiot. He's not an idiot. He's an idiot. I don't know. Who the hell comes up with that? Somebody shoots you and kills you over a celebration with one gunshot? This guy's talking out of his bunghole.
This was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration, or so we have no idea about this. But following up on what was just said, he's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions. And I think that's the environment we're in, that people just, you can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts you have and then saying these awful words and not expect awful actions to take place.
Matt.
And that's the unfortunate environment we're in.
Notice she didn't rebuke him or say, no, how dare you. So he's blaming him, but he says hateful thoughts. What he's saying is Charlie Kirk's views, which are legitimate, many of which I agree with, are hate. That is a lie. Charlie Kirk's thoughts and his views are not hateful. He says, Matthew Dowd guy says, if you disagree with me, and MSNBC says it, she didn't argue with him about that. She set him up to say something like that, and she knew it. That's Katie Tur, apparently. But he says anything that what Charlie Kirk believes in is hate. And it is not hate. That is why my pastor, Dr. Robert Jeffress, that is why Charlie's pastor and many other folks, a rabbi tonight on Fox News saying we're all Charlie Kirk, his views are that of a conservative Christian, a conservative evangelical Christian, of which I am. That's not hate. So this guy says your views, just like mine, just like Trump's, are hate. And therefore, your views got you killed. So, I mean, this is crazy what this guy said, and I got no problem with being fired, but that's wild. Let's play that last part again because I just want to pick it apart a little bit more.
Lead to hateful words.
I'm going to rewind it just a little bit more, pick it apart with you more.
Younger figures in this who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups.
Hate speech. Charlie Kirk goes to these campuses and lets the person who disagrees with him the most come up and get first in line, which I love with callers. I love it when somebody disagrees with me. I always tell the producer to pull them up to the front. They're the best callers. It gives you the best controversy, the best discussion, the best flashpoint, everything. So, and he never yelled at anybody, screamed at anybody, attacked anybody. It's pretty crazy, pretty wild. All right, let's continue on.
And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words.
Hateful thoughts. You're conservative, you're a Christian, you're evangelical, your thoughts are hate. And so your thoughts, like literally, we're not supposed to share our thoughts. We're not supposed to share our faith. We're not supposed to share our views. If we do, it's hate. That's what this guy is saying. And then he goes on to say, because of that, Charlie's dead. So it's just sick. All right, let's go on to the next one. This is Governor Pritzker of Illinois.
My sympathy to Charlie Kirk's family and to Charlie Kirk, who obviously has, become a target for somebody. I don't know whether it's political violence because I don't know who did it. I know they seem to have somebody in custody. But I will say that political violence, unfortunately, has been ratcheting up in this country. We saw the shootings, the killings in Minnesota. We've seen other political violence occur in other states. And I would just say it's got to stop. And I think there are people who are fomenting it in this country. I think the president's rhetoric often foments it. We've seen the...
So Donald Trump foments hateful stuff.
In this country, I think the president's rhetoric often foments it. We've seen the January 6th rioters who clearly, have tripped a new era of political violence.
So Pritzker's talking out of his rump, to be nice about it. I love how he brings up January 6th as if that has anything to do with any of this. And Donald Trump as if his rhetoric has any... Dude, somebody's freaking dead. What he should be saying, even if he despises Charlie Kirk, despises his views, is saying, I may not have agreed with anything he said, but he had the right to say it, and he's dead, and that's not okay. Instead, he's pulling this crap. So he's pulling political points and political BS. Now, Justine Bateman, who I would never pegged to put this, she tweeted this out, and it's all against Democrats. This is wild. I don't understand what this is all about. She tweets, House Minority Hakeem Jeffries, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is being criticized by Republicans after pledging Democrats would fight President Trump's agenda in the streets. She also says, quotes this, I think that you punch. I think you punch. I think you okay with punching is Ted Cruz. I mean, like, this dude has to be knocked over the head, like, hard, right? Jasmine Crockett, she's quoting. This is Tim Walz, Governor Tim Walz. Maybe it's time for us to be a little meaner. Maybe it's time for us to be a little more fierce because we have to ferociously push back on this. She quotes Beto Hussein O'Rourke, the cultural appropriator, fake Mexican. Well, who cares about the effing rules right now? Punch back, kick back, dunk over their heads, and win some effing power. Gavin Newsom, she quotes, has threatened to, quote, punch Donald Trump in the mouth. She says, politicians, people act on what you say. Watch what you say. Interesting that she only called the Democrats out. That was very interesting. I don't know what's up with that, but that's interesting nonetheless. Now, before we get into Van Jones, the Charlotte murder, follow-ups on that, and so much more, I wanted to quote my pastor and Charlie Kirk's pastor. Because the moment Charlie Kirk was shot, leaned back, and was gone from this earth, he was in Jesus' arms. He was in heaven. And that's a fact. I know that I know where Charlie is, as most of us do, in his camp. Here's what Charlie's pastor said, who says I'm really his partner and his friend. He was like a co-founder of Turning Point USA, and Charlie was the first. Charlie spoke at his church. The first church that he ever spoke at was this pastor's church. And Godspeak Calvary Chapel is where it is. He said, evil has not prevailed, and it will not win. And I say, amen. Second of all, my pastor, Dr. Robert Jeffress, did a great job. They had him on Fox News. He said, Jesus called Satan a murderer. from the beginning. He is a thief who comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And I'm going to pause for a moment. He will kill, steal, and destroy if you let him. Yesterday, I was trying to do my podcast, and technical difficulties crashed. I said it twice in my unbroadcast, even though it's not broadcast, it's on the internet, but unbroadcast comments. And that is, if you want to destroy a household, if you want to destroy this household right here that I'm in, you take me out of the family. Doesn't matter if it's me or anybody else. You take the man out of the household, that's how you destroy a home. That's how you destroy a family. If you want to destroy a city, take as many men out of the households of those cities as you can, and you will destroy them. Same thing with the county, with the state, and the country. Take the man out of the home. That's how you destroy a family. And that's what Satan wants too. But continuing on, I'll go back with what my pastor, Dr. Robert Jeffress, said. Jesus called Satan a murderer from the beginning. He is a thief who comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And we need to be clear in condemning this act of violence against Charlie Kirk. He says, for a believer like Charlie Kirk, we know where he is. The Bible promises that when we're absent from the body, we are at home with Jesus Christ. And that's exactly where he is. Amen. Before we get into some wild stuff that happened with the Charlotte, the next phase in what we've been talking about after Charlie Kirk's assassination, the murder of the beautiful Ukrainian lady, Irina Zarutska. Zarutska. Before we get into that, I want to tell you real fast that in between all my fill-ins on TV and radio, I have teamed up with a group that helps women who have been sex trafficked. It helps women who have been victims of sexual assault. And I'm partnering with them for the first time this North Texas Giving Day, which has started already. And we already have a match. So dollar for dollar, we have a match. So if you donate, anything you do will go towards this. And I'm going to give you the information on how you can text a short code to donate if you like. But these women oftentimes are sex trafficked by their own parents. And there's a story of one young lady who her mom sex trafficked her because she was on drugs, and her mom wanted to keep making money for drugs. And so she started sex trafficking her own daughter at her own house. She grew up, and bad choice after bad choice with bad men that mistreated her, sex trafficked her. And eventually, she wanted to change, and she got out. She escaped. Some of these women get out, whatever, doesn't matter. They need to be healed, and they need help, and they need to be pointed to the gospel. And the ministry I work with is called Thrive Counseling Services, and they take victims who are in halfway homes from sex trafficking, and they have a case manager, and oftentimes those case managers are the only advocate for these women. The second advocate is the counselors at Thrive, all women counselors, 6 of them. And they point, as a Christian ministry, they point these women to the advocate, their protector, God, and Jesus Christ. And so they're rebuilding these women's lives back. And it's unbelievable to see some of the testimonies that come out of this. Women who are members of a church, women who get their children back, custody of their children back. They also help formerly incarcerated women. And this is their only advocate. So I ask you to consider donating, like I have already, to Thrive Counseling Services to help rebuild women's lives and their families and their children and everything. Let me I'm going to pull up a quick thing that shows you how you can donate. It's a short code. Just text Thrive99 to 53555. Excuse me. I can't even. It's right in front of me. Text Thrive99, THRIVE 99 to 53555. Thrive99 to 53555. Okay. So text that. Thrive99 to 53555, like I did, and you can donate right away, and it's matched, so you can double your contributions. Please do that. I'm honored for everybody who does do that and take the time. Now, let's get into Van Jones, the allegations that Charlie Kirk, before he was assassinated, was racially charging this whole thing. Let's also get into on the murder of the beautiful Irina Zarutska on the Charlotte train. First, let's play Van Jones attacking Charlie Kirk. It's short, but he says, well, Charlie Kirk's saying that he brought about race, and, oh, she's white. Listen.
Hurt people hurt people. What happened was horrible, but it becomes an opportunity for people to jump on bandwagons. And then for someone like Charlie Kirk, he should be ashamed of himself. No one mentioned the word race, white, black, or anything except him. What people mention is the horror of what happened to this young woman.
That's false. Two things. First of all, he said hurt people hurt people. Dude, this guy is an evil murderer, and maybe he's too insane to get the death penalty. I got no problem if he's put to death, if you will, by the Trump administration. But hurt people, dude. That's like that's crap that we talk about with our kids or some a-hole at work. This is a murdering animal. This is not hurt people, dude. That's like when this guy was like 5 or 10 years old or 12 years old. Get out of here with that crap. Second of all, Charlie Kirk's the only one that brought up race. Lie, wrong. Some people are calling for Van Jones to be fired over this. Stick it in your freaking rump, dude. Relax. He's wrong, and he should apologize because here is the murderer, and here he is saying, "I got that white girl twice." Now you got to listen closely, but he said it twice. This is on the train from the audio and the video. He said it twice. I got that white girl. So the first person to bring up race in this whole thing was the murderer. The second person to bring up race was Charlie Kirk talking about the murderer and everybody else on the Twitter sphere. And Van Jones didn't do his homework and attacked Charlie Kirk, and he should apologize, not because Charlie Kirk was dead. He had no idea, knowing that Charlie would be assassinated. It's sick to even say the guy's dead. It's sick. It's terrible. It's unbelievable. It's wrong. It's angering. But he did. The murderer said, "I got that white girl twice." So race is a component of this. Brought up by the murderer. If you don't like it, Van, take it up with the murderer. Go after him. Oh, no, he's a hurting person. Now, let's go on to a couple of things with Irina Zarutska, that gorgeous young lady. Her dad could not come to see her for her funeral because he is in a war zone. Her dad said that they should bury her, and her parents said bury her here in the United States because she loved the United States so much. And there she was. There was what's the guy's name? Paul Morrow, who's on Fox News all the time. He's a former New York police inspector. I love that guy. He was saying that that she did everything that women are told to do. He tells women to do. The New York police tells women to do if you want to be safe on these subways. To not make yourself a target, you put your hair back in a ponytail or something like that. Put your hair back so that it isn't showing, which is unbelievable. You got to do that, but and then don't make eye contact, which I would think would be the opposite. But no, don't make eye contact. She did everything she was supposed to do, and she still was murdered for it. Supposedly, somebody said their eyes locked before as she sat down or something. I don't know about that, but so she did everything, and she was still murdered. And you see the video, and she was hit here 3 times by this sick, twisted son of a bleep. And you see her face, and she looks like a little child that was like punched or something, like sucker punched, and like a little girl. You know what I mean? Like a 9-year-old girl, like going, oh, it's just horrifying and angering. But this is all about DEI and wokeness. And for years I've been saying, you will die for diversity. DEI will kill you. You will die for diversity. This involves being a pilot when you aren't qualified. This involves being a judge and letting people off because of their race, because of their color, giving a man who's on his 14th arrest a promissory note of some sort saying, "I promise I'll show up for my hearing," and letting him go with a little smile on your face. This guy goes out and kills a sweet, innocent woman who loved this country. Now, just so you know, some great work by Fox News the other day, the day before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Wake County, North Carolina, right by where this happened in Charlotte, Mecklenburg County. Wake County, North Carolina, has 800 people with 14 or more arrests. 800 people with 14 or more arrests. Some people have 50 to 70 arrests, and they're still walking around. The average murderer, know this, the average murderer is arrested 11 times before they kill. They graduate to homicide. And that's what this guy was allowed to do thanks to Judge Teresa Stokes. By the way, Judge Teresa Stokes, who gave this guy a little note, sign a little note here that you'll show up and go out and then kill this woman. Judge Teresa Stokes is not an actual, she doesn't have a law degree. She's not an attorney from all the reports I heard on Fox. But she is a strong supporter of Kamala Harris. She donated to Kamala's campaign. So there's this is the same kind of wokeness that Kamala had when she gave that money to the Minnesota bail fund to let all those thugs out to rape, to kill, to murder, to beat, to destroy in the riots, the George Floyd, the St. George Floyd, blessed be his name, riots. Speaking of George Floyd, let me also tell you about this. Judge Teresa Stokes was nominated by the Mecklenburg County Clerk, Alyssa Chin Gary. Alyssa Chin Gary, according to Fox News, lists herself as a clerk, a DEI consultant, and a racial equity organizer. And her life mission is reparations. This is what kills people. This kind of garbage kills people, like Irina Zarutska. And let me play you Judge, the so-called Judge, Alyssa Chin Gary. Here we go. The clerk. I'm sorry. This is the clerk that nominated Judge Teresa Stokes, Alyssa Chin Gary. Listen to her.
We are here to honor them, to lift their names, and to continue the intergenerational work that we are required to do to eliminate structural racism.
Don't you love how she talks? We're here to work, and it's so important work. Structural racism. You can sound like you know what you're talking about, but you're still an idiot, and you're still woke, and you're destroying this country, and you're killing people. You're putting people in offices that can get people killed, and you did that. Second of all, Stokes was also nominated by Judge Carla Archie, who is a friend of Eric Holder. You know who he is, the former Hussein Obama Attorney General. Judge Carla Archie also was the DEI Champion of the Year, according to Fox News. And she sentenced somebody for shooting five people to only 1.5 years in jail. These are the people who are behind Irina Zarutska's death. And let me play Abby Phillip. One more little piece of audio I wanted to play for you. Abby Phillip from CNN, and she's claiming we're doing some kind of a reverse St. George Floyd. Blessed be his name. Listen to this garbage. This is, again, the day before Charlie was assassinated.
They've been looking for opportunities to make this some sort of like reciprocal George Floyd situation. And that's the part that I think he's almost giving away the game. And it's sad to see a lot of people going along with it.
A reverse George Floyd situation. I don't know why she's even bringing that up. Is there some sort of a shield that if you invoke St. George Floyd, blessed be his name, that you suddenly have to shut down? Reverse George Floyd thing. Let me play that again. I want to pick this apart a little bit more here.
They've been looking for opportunities to make this some sort of like reciprocal George Floyd situation.
Oh, we have to have the equivalency of George Floyd. We're looking for this. Can we find something?
And that's the part that I think he's almost giving away the game. And it's sad to see a lot of people going along with it.
Yeah. Well, you know what's sad is that he said, I got that white girl twice. Why don't you take it up with the murderer?